All right, first day in pads for us, getting the, it's like the brightest light ever.
Here.
First day in pads, so exciting day, you know, kind of been building to it. Shells, shoulder pads only, and then we've got one more day in shoulder pads. So you kind of got this acclimatization period, climatization, however you say it, for these 5 days and leading into full pads on Wednesday. But, you know, I tell you, I'm just super encouraged by what I've seen so far in these first few days. The energy, the tempo, the leadership, just an enthusiasm out here. You know, guys that have been about their business. It's been very clean practices, you know, just from just the little things that I kind of always look at when I'm evaluating how the practice is going. You know, you're going to have some good plays and some bad plays and things like that, but just the effort, the energy, the commitment to do the little things the way we want them done, it's been really good. And been blessed with the weather too these first few days. So off to a good start, and got a lot to do. Time's getting away, so it won't be long, but we've got a nice plan as far as our progression, as far as how we're going to get them ready, and I'd say we're you know, probably a little ahead, to be honest with you. Any questions?
Any people in particular that caught your eye?
Oh man, yeah, lots of guys. I mean, we got a talented group of individuals and lots of guys really across the board. From, you know, guys that y'all would think about all the way down to some of the walk-on guys. I mean, we got a really good roster, young roster, but you know, talented group, and been very encouraged by really everybody. Really not disappointed in anybody at this point.
What are you seeing from the defensive line specifically?
Yeah, I was just telling them that, you know, that's probably been my biggest encouragement to this point is defensively. They just look so different than they did in the spring. You know, those first 3 days of spring practice, it was like, wow, we got a lot of work to do. And man, we just look totally different. I'm so impressed and proud of the leadership of the defense, first of all. You know, the scouts, like AJs and Kayvons and UCs and Justin Fosters and those guys, and Isaiah, those guys have worked their tails off in this offseason, you know, from a mental standpoint. And I mean, we're young up front. We're young, but you know, obviously Niles and Jordan get back in there. That makes all the difference in the world. But across the board, I mean, we look just so much more like a knowledgeable defense. You know, much more coordinated, and guys are flying around. So I'm very encouraged with the work that they put in when nobody's watching. And that's really, I always say that all the time, that's when you make your biggest gains. It's coming out of spring and that transformation. And that group has truly transformed physically and mentally since the last time I saw them on the field. So I'm very encouraged. I was kind of wanting to see how it went today with the pads on. So it's off to a really good start with that group. And again, they're young, but I'm excited about, you know, what we got to work with and where they are from a progression standpoint right now.
DeAndre Overton looks like a guy that's out here maybe practicing with a different sense of purpose, a sense of urgency. What have you seen from him?
He's been great, and he really was. I saw that in him last year. I thought last year he really made a step forward from a confidence standpoint, a work ethic standpoint, really a technique, fundamental standpoint, just really becoming a complete guy and buying in to being the best version of himself and his skill set. And part of it was what he needed to do in the weight room. And I'm super proud of him. He's also an unbelievable leader. He's become one of our best leaders, incredibly committed to this program. And you know, we've moved him over to the slot. I can tell you, he's loving it. He's having a ball. You know, he's been living over in that boundary for 3 years, and it's survival of the fittest over in that boundary. That's a battle every snap, and now all of a sudden he's over in that slot. He's got a lot more space than he's ever had before, and he's a very intelligent player, and he's just so much stronger. He's done an awesome job with his body, and just playing with a lot of confidence. So, I mean, I'm really, really pleased with him. He's had a good few days, So is Cornell. Cornell's another guy that's really. We were able to redshirt him last year. He's got 2 years left. Cornell's had a really good few days. TJ Chase, another veteran guy that we're pleased with. So, I like what we got at receiver.
Do you see DeAndre getting more snaps in the slot even after Amari comes back?
I mean,
as opposed to boundary.
We'll evaluate all that stuff whenever he gets back. Amari can play. He's played the two and the 5, which is outside in the slot, so he can play both of those. And DeAndre can play any of the 3. He's really diversified himself to play all 3 positions. So he's just, we've got a lot of versatility and flexibility with what we can do. But we're just focused on the guys that we got right now and getting them ready to play. Not worried about any future stuff. We'll deal with that whenever that time comes.
What have you seen out of J.C. Chalk in his first couple days?
Yeah, he's another guy. He's one of those guys I'm really pleased with, and I think it hit him right between the eyes this summer. He really worked his tail off, transformed. He's changed his body composition. He's strong, and he's a smooth guy. He's got really nice hands, but he's just gotten a lot more serious. He's just carrying himself like a veteran, and we don't really have any veterans. So I think it got real with him quickly when he looked around and saw, well, I mean, dadgum, this is my opportunity. And so I've been really pleased with his sense of urgency. He's moving. He's just moving with confidence. He's moving like a veteran. I mean, he's done a nice job these first few days. So hopefully that'll continue.
Jalen Lay, have you seen different from him?
Yeah, he's another.
guy that can help you.
Oh yeah, he's one of those guys that's much improved in the spring. He was spinning, lost, and he's worked really hard. So again, we're just getting the pads on. We've got a lot to do from an installation standpoint, a lot to do from a situational football standpoint. We got a long way to go in our progression here. So we'll see how he holds up. But he's a guy we definitely know need to help us. So we'll see if he hits the wall or something like that. But right now, after a few days, he's hanging in there, and he's much improved. And it's just a matter of time. He's going to be a very good player. Like I said, he was overwhelmed with everything this spring. And it's settled down for him a lot.
Is there a timetable with Davis?
He just needed time, really. I mean, he's just waiting on Danny to. I think they're kind of progressing him. I guess they're starting to do some of their cutting and stuff. And so it's just a matter of him where he can feel like he can really cut loose on it and plant and cut if he needs to. But, so I don't really know. But hopefully sooner than later. It happened a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully, so it looks a lot better. I mean, it was pretty black and blue, but it looks a lot better.
You're
Two good prospects. I'm really pleased with both of them. I think, like I said, both outstanding prospects, and Tony did an awesome job. Tony's he's a very stingy recruiter. I like to say he don't offer many guys, and there's a lot of boxes you got to check, and I love that about Tony. And so I think he did an awesome job going through the process, and identifying the right candidates, and we landed those two. Just super pleased. They're both big, stout guys. Mikey don't really get the credit that he deserves. I mean, he's a put together guy. He's not a puny kid. I think a lot of people knew Ches was a bigger back coming in as a freshman. But Mikey's put together now. He's stout. But they're going to be. They'll be fun to watch develop. They're both doing a nice job. We gotta get them ready.
Dabo, what about Levante Bentley? Is he a guy you think might contribute this year?
I don't know yet. I mean, again, same thing. We're not ready to really pencil any of those guys in at this point. We got a long way to go, especially at that position. The first day in shoulder pads. I mean, we need to get some live work, scrimmaging, and get another week of installation and see how some of these guys are processing it, and who can keep moving forward and who just hits the wall and gets overloaded. Because that's going to happen with somebody. It's just the way it is. But I'll tell you this: if you put pictures in the dictionary and looked up linebacker. I had one his picture in there because he looks like, I mean, exactly the way you'd want to look. He is put together for a freshman coming in here. He is impressive, you know, physically ready guys you'll see. So all those guys, man, we got a good group. Those young guys, they can hit on all of them from what we think they are athletically. But we got a long way to go before we kind of put something in.
We were working Andrew Booth on punt returns the other day. You think he could compete with Amari and DK?
Yeah, I don't know. We got a long way to go. I mean,
is he fairly natural?
We're just, he was only out there one day, so we got, you know, we're just out there shagging some balls and putting a lot of guys back there to shag balls. It's one thing to go back there and shag them. It's another thing when it's live. But he's a guy we'll look at and see how he does. You know, we feel good about DK, we feel good about Amari, we feel good about, you know, Tavon. You know, he's a guy that we might mix in a little bit. Of course, Will Swinney, Will Brown are two guys we really trust back there as well. But definitely Bruce, a guy that we're going to continue to just look at and see how he goes as we get into live stuff.
How do you feel about where the cornerback depth is?
It's good. It's really good. We got an excellent group. I'm super pleased with the whole group, especially Lee Anthony. You know, because Lee Anthony is a guy that his first couple years, you know, I mean, he redshirted, and this last year, just I don't think he was very confident in himself, and I don't think he was very committed to how he had to compete. You know, and I'm really pleased with him. I mean, I think he's just got more serious about it, and he's an important part of that group. We need those guys. I think Mario's at another level from where he was last year. I mean, he just looks like he's been here a couple of years instead of just one. I mean, he looks confident. He's playing fast. I'm super pleased with him. And Sheridan and Booth, they're the real deal. I think both of those guys are just outstanding talents and prospects. Obviously, AJ. What he brings to the table is well documented, and his leadership, his work ethic, and then DK is just, you know, he's just one of those guys that he's just so competitive. You know, he's obviously skilled. So I think that group is really a good group, and they're about their business. I mean, same thing at safety. We got this time last year. We were all crossing our fingers that Denzel and Nolan would come through for us. And wow, did both those guys come through in a big way. I mean, we think we got 4 guys that can start at safety without a doubt. So we've got a lot of versatility and a lot of flexibility with that back group at corner and safety. And then those young guys, man, so impressed with those young guys. The guys that were here in mid-year, you know, Landon and Joseph. I mean, those guys, Ray's just now getting out of here. Jalen's just now getting out of here. But Landon and Joseph, they've come light years from where they were this spring. So it's a good, really good group, and it's gonna be fun to watch it all play out.